What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Local SWAT team says Secret Service never met with them before the Trump rally. And they also identified a suspicious character 1 hour and 30 minutes before Trump got on stage. Recent interview on CNN with the SWAT team from Butler, Pennsylvania, shows a lot about what happened. And then obviously with the testimony that occurred and the resignation of former director Kim Cheadle, let's go ahead and dive into this video from CNN.
Of a local SWAT team assigned to protect Donald Trump the day of the assassination attempt now say the Secret Service never met with them face to face. They spoke to ABC News about the lack of action after a local sniper texted about someone suspicious.
We had a text group between the local snipers that were on scene. I had sent those pictures out to that group and advised them of what I noticed and what I'd seen.
What do you think is transpiring once you send in what you've sent in?
I assumed that there would be somebody coming out to, speak with this individual or, find out what's going on.
My friend Aaron Katersky.
Look at this. I'm gonna bring this up bigger on screen. Look at this right here. They took a photo of Thomas Crooks, kid. What's it say? Leeming. Kid Leeming. I thought it said learning. Kid Leeming around building we are in. AGR, I believe it is. I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards stage. FYI, if you want to notify SS snipers, Secret Service snipers, to look out. I lost sight of him. Also, a bike and backpack sitting next to it in rear of building that was not seen earlier. This was at 5:38.
Their text messages also reveal that the issue of the gunman was raised nearly 90 minutes before shots were fired at the former president. CNN's Zach Cohen here with the latest this morning. Zach, what are you learning?
Yeah, John, members of the SWAT team describing both a failure in planning and a failure in communication. And they told ABC News that it started with this briefing, that they were supposed to have a face-to-face briefing with U.S. Secret Service snipers before the rally took place. But that never happened. Take a listen to what they told ABC News this morning.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong, because that never happened, and we had no communication with the Secret Service.
So members of this
Crazy.
talking about amongst themselves about this suspicious individual who would turn out to be the would-be assassin. Kid learning around building we are an hour and a half before the rally started, texted the concerns about the shooter, an hour and a half before the rally started, and it's unclear if that warning ever made it to the Secret Service.
It didn't.
All right, good
It
report.
didn't, or else they would have done something, or it went to them and they just still decided not to do something.
From the FBI this morning surrounding the investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
I wanted to show you guys a video that I found. It's from that ABC interview with the sniper, the ABC interview. Or with the SWAT team, excuse me. And then
President Trump. For the first time, we're hearing from members of the Pennsylvania SWAT team.
Not in a good way. To one of the guys, and I remember standing in the parking lot talking to one of the guys, and we just became part of history. Not in a good way.
The SWAT team from Beaver County, Pennsylvania knew something about the scrawny young man seemed off. He can be seen in this video obtained by ABC affiliate WTAE skulking around former President Trump's rally. Text messages between local snipers show they noticed Thomas Matthew Crooks at 4:26 p.m., nearly 2 hours before the attempted assassination that would injure Trump, kill a man, and severely hurt 2 others. "You see me go out with my rifle," one of the snipers texted, "so he knows you guys are up there." By 5:14 p.m., they grew suspicious.
He was looking up and down the building.
He knows you got.
Someone followed our lead and snuck in and parked by our cars, just so you know. I'm just letting you know because you see me go out with my rifle and put it in my car, so he knows you guys are up there. He's sitting to the direct right of the picnic table, about 50 yards from the exit.
Guys are up there. By 5:14 p.m., they grew suspicious.
He was looking up and down the building and just wandering around. It just seemed out of place.
Greg Nichols snapped these photos of the shooter.
We had a text group between the local snipers that were on scene. I had sent those pictures out to that group and advised them of what I noticed and what I'd seen.
What do you think is transpiring once you send in what you've sent in?
I assumed that there would be somebody coming out to, speak with this individual or, find out what's going on.
So how do you know if Greg's concerns about Crooks are being relayed properly?
We don't. We have to assume that when he put that information out to command, that command took that information and did something with it. We don't know if they did.
None of the concerns appears to have reached members of Trump's Secret Service detail. The Washington Post reports they've complained they were never made aware of the warnings. In their first public comments about the assassination attempt, members of the Beaver County SWAT team described to ABC News what they consider to be failures of planning and communication that would prove catastrophic.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong, because that never happened, and we had no communication with the Secret Service.
You had no.
Something smells fishy. And I'm not talking about sashimi. I'm talking about that Jim that been all day working in the yard, went to the gym, stank. Something smells fishy to me. Something just doesn't feel right.
Communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
No, not until after the shooting, I believe. Yeah.
And by then?
It was too late.
The Secret Service declined to respond directly, but told ABC News the agency is committed to better understanding what happened and is offering complete cooperation with ongoing investigations.
The suspect is directly above us.
Members of the Beaver County SWAT team rushed to the shooter's rooftop.
There's a ladder right here.
As seen in footage from Rich Gianvito's helmet camera.
Thanks, brother. Yep.
So we had access through that ladder, got up onto the roof.
And as you're scrambling onto that roof, you don't know for sure whether he's dead or alive, or whether you'll encounter fire.
At that point, no.
So what are you prepared? Are you prepared for a firefight at that point?
Well, we're prepared for anything at that point, because at this time we're unsure.
Give me a solid perimeter. Get guys prepped to clear the building.
He encountered the shooter's bloodied body some 400 feet from the stage.
We're clear. We're clear.
The team believes it did everything it could have to thwart the attack, but accepts its share of failure.
I think we all failed that day.
How so?
Life is lost.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind that. This guy from the SWAT team took more ownership and responsibility than Kim Cheadle.
I think we all failed that day.
How so?
Life is lost.
Yeah. People died. And if there's anything that we could have done to stop that, we should have done.
Incredible.
That guy, that SWAT team, that guy right there, that person took more responsibility than Kim Cheadle did. And that is sad. We're going to dive into an interview with Fox News with Donald Trump. This was hosted on Fox News. Let's hop on.
When positive press for Kamala Harris. But the Real Clear Politics average shows you up at about 1.75%, 7% over.
What? How is that even possible?
Over her. But before the debate, Biden was 1.5 points behind. So you've actually slightly grown your lead on the national poll. So how do you keep Republicans positive and not buying into kind of the negative publicity that they're saying?
I think she's a worse candidate than him.
100%. I was just about to pause and say that because there's no way that she is even close in this race. When she ran for president, she got zero cred. She spent all of her campaign money and got zero. How is she even close to those numbers with Donald Trump?
She's far more radical left. She is younger. I mean, she's 60 years old. A lot of people, I didn't realize she was 60. I thought she was a little younger, but she's 60. She is talking a big game, but her game is pretty bad. I mean, she was the border czar. She's trying to pretend that she wasn't. You know, it's an amazing thing that's happened too, because we did a long time
It's
ago.
an evolution, Mr. President, that yes, she
What just happened there?
Yes, she evolution, Mr. President.
That she wasn't. You know, it's an amazing thing that's happened too, because we did a long time
It's an
ago.
evolution.
Did they just blur that out? Did they just blur that out? She was the border czar. She was the border czar, and they're deleting stuff that she says when she was announced border czar. Articles came out from Axios, being one of them, that she was the border czar or is the border czar, and slowly these articles are restating and saying, "Oh, she was never the border czar." So they're 1985ing us, guys. If you haven't read that book, check out that book.
Mr. President, that yes, she was more progressive in 2020, but that she's moved to the middle on a number of these issues, and they're making a concerted effort to show kind of a new Kamala 2.0.
In politics, when you start off saying something, that's where you are. And she was for defund the police. She was for open borders. She was for having anybody come in. Now I notice that they're actually saying they want to have immunity for everybody that came into the country, and they want to have citizenship. They want.
She said that, and she said that she knows that she assumes Kamala Harris would support that. That means citizenship for 10 million, 15 million,
or
20 million?
Yeah, or 20 million.
What would that do to the country?
Destroy the country. It's already, I mean, it's in such bad shape. Our country has never been in a position like this, in addition to which we could end up in a third world war, okay? But we have 20 million people that have come into the country. I would say by now it's 20, is probably going over that number. We have another 4 months to go, but really it's another 5 months, 5.5 months to go. So that number is going to increase very substantially. They're pouring in, and they're coming from prisons. They're coming from mental institutions, insane asylums. I always say that's a step above a mental institution. And we have a record number of terrorists coming into our country, and only bad things are going to happen. Nothing good is going to come out of it.
A big news today is President Biden announcing reforms to the Supreme Court, which include not allowing immunity for presidents, and also new ethics rules. Now, a lot of us who used to clerk at the court believe that that's just a naked attempt to start knocking off conservative justices.
It is.
They didn't even consult Dick Durbin or the Senate Judiciary Committee on any aspect of this. What does this mean to you? What Biden is?
Well, it's a typical Biden con. He doesn't want to give up immunity because if he didn't have immunity, look at all the things he did. The $3.5 million from Russia, all the money he's taken in from China, all of the bad things and the evil things he's done, not to mention that thousands of people killed in the border. Look at the Afghanistan pullout with the worst, most embarrassing day in the history of our country. All of the things he's done that are so bad, he
100%. 100%. The way that we pulled out of Afghanistan was horrendous. Made us look so weak as a country.
desperately wants immunity. There's no way he would write off immunity for a president.
But this is a really upending of our constitutional structure. And a common criticism of you from the left is he's the chaos candidate. He's the chaos former
Just the
president.
opposite.
And so what does that do to separation of powers if the executive branch can come along and say, oh, no, even though we have constitutional provisions governing the court, that we're just going to do this, or this is what we stand for?
It's going nowhere. They need 75%, and it's going nowhere. He can't get it. He knows that, too. It's just, I think, look.
Is it a bone
They
to the left,
staged a
hard
coup against the president of the United States. They went in and they told him, you're leaving. You're way down in the polls, 17 points, I think. You know, it's like you're in a fight with somebody and you're really winning, and they take him out and they put somebody else in. Nobody ever heard of this before. This is a coup. They took him. They said, even though you got 14 million votes, you're out. And he said, I'm not going out.
But you're saying that's what they're kind of doing with the court as well?
No, what they're doing is they're keeping, they took him out. He was losing badly. They took him out. He wants something to say. He's sitting there with nothing to do, nobody to talk to. They threw him out. This was a coup, the first one. Oh, yeah, she did. As many as 27 injustices.
I haven't Crooks, team member, about how this could have occurred. How are you feeling? How are you doing? I haven't seen you since the.
This is
to another Congress.
This is one of the parts that I wanted to show you guys. Look at this.
I haven't seen you since the assassination attempt on your life. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I feel good.
New information keeps coming out about how this could have occurred, including text messages among some of the local law enforcement, the SWAT teams that were in place. And most recently, we found out that a local SWAT team member actually spotted Crooks 90 minutes before that first shot went off. And they kept tracking him. They even saw him at one point, maybe 45 minutes before, half hour before the shot was fired, with the rangefinder pointing it toward the roof. What's your reaction to this?
Look, I can tell you this. Once the bullets started coming at me, and I got very lucky, I have to attribute it to God, because if I didn't turn to the right, and there was no reason to turn to the right except I dropped a big sign on what a great job I'm doing on immigration, right? So the sign's coming down, and I go like this, and it went phew. If I didn't, I wouldn't be talking.
Barely missed him. Barely missed him.
You shouldn't have been on that stage. You shouldn't have been allowed to get on that stage.
But I just want to say one thing about Secret Service. They were very brave, because they were coming, and bullets were flying over me, because I went down, bullets were flying, and they were on top of me. I had a lot of people on top of me, a lot of.
One thing that I admire is his diplomacy of, yes, you know, some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is absurd, but the way if you've ever noticed, he stays very stoic. Doesn't necessarily smile or look angry. It is very like middle of the road. And he delivers messages based on that. He could go to town on the Secret Service, but what does that do? What does that do if when he wins? What does that do then for the Secret Service, to the people that don't necessarily like him in the Secret Service or in the deep state? So he's very diplomatic on his delivery with this.
for me because I went down, bullets were flying, and they were on top of me. I had a lot of people on top of me, a lot of very big, strong people on top of me. I want to tell you, and they were very brave. I have to say that. Okay, with that being said, should have been somebody on the roof. There should have been communication with the local police, which there wasn't. So that's a bad thing. And they were seeing this guy who's a very disturbed person, and they were seeing him around. I mean, it's like, how about the people, the Trump fans, the Trumpsters, the woman in the red shirt that was screaming, he's got a gun, that guy's got a gun.
But this information, Mr. President, demonstrates via text messages in real time that they spotted this individual. The local SWAT team member spotted him. They lost track of him. They saw him again. But then we find out there was no pre-planning done between the Secret Service and the local SWAT teams, which is common, which is customary, in addition to the drone flying ahead.
Actually, worse, there was no communication. So they didn't speak to each other. They actually didn't speak. That just came out. Look, it's a terrible thing. Should have been somebody up there. Now, the Secret Service shooter, the Secret Service sniper, it was amazing what he did with one bullet. He took him out, and that was an amazing shot he made. I heard it was like an incredible shot, much further away. It would have been good if it was 9 seconds sooner. You know, we lost one great person and two people were very badly hurt, and now they're doing okay sooner. Amazing what he did with one bullet. He took him out, and that was an amazing shot he made. I heard it was like an incredible shot, much further away. It would have been good if it was 9 seconds sooner. You know, we lost one great person and two people were very badly hurt, and now they're doing okay, and we're in communication with them. They're doing pretty good. They're doing very good. I thought they were going to die. I thought both of them were going to die also.
But you agreed to an interview with the FBI as it's called a victim's interview in a situation.
They're coming in on Thursday to see me, and I thought I would. I'm so disappointed. You know, if you took a poll of the FBI, I bet I get 95%, but not at the top level.
I'm going to replay that.
And I thought I would. I'm so disappointed. You know, if you took a poll of the FBI, I bet I get 95%, but not at the top level, not at the people, the
Why do
political
people not trust the upper echelon of the FBI at this
point?
point?
They've had a bad period of time. I mean, they raided Mar-a-Lago. That's not so good. And I guess we bring a suit. You know, we won that whole case, and we won it the right way. We won it because we won it. We won it in court. It was a big thing. Hardly got any publicity. All they did is talk about the documents. I was allowed the Presidential Records Act, but we won the case, and the press hardly reports it. Now, with Biden, he really was convicted of that case. He was let go of that case. And by the way, you're talking about many more, and he didn't have Presidential Records Act. Just one thing, Laura. They said he was incompetent, and therefore he can't stand trial, and yet he would have been allowed to be president. Think of that. So he sort of semi-won it. Of course, you don't want to have that kind of a victory. You win because you're incompetent. But he actually was guilty.
What was Melania's reaction, if you don't mind my asking? I know this is very personal, when she learned about what happened on that field in Butler?
She was watching.
Oh, she was watching in real time?
She was watching live. It was all over the place. It was on television. So on your network, but it was watching live. It was.
Oh, she was watching in real time?
She was watching live. It was all over the place. It was on television.
When she learned.
You can hear him crack a little bit. Little emotional, for sure. Respectfully so, right? Respectfully so.
Learned about what happened on that field in Butler?
She was watching.
Oh, she was watching in real time?
She was watching live. It was all over the place. It was on television. So on your network, but it was all over the place. And she was watching. I asked her that. I mean, I wasn't there. I was on the ground. And when the world started to, like, you could talk to people, I said, so what was your feeling? And she was, she can't really even talk about it.
Traumatized.
Which is okay, because that means she likes me.
She
loves me.
That's good.
I mean, let's say she could talk about it freely. That wouldn't be, I'm not so sure which is better. But she either likes or loves me, and that's nice. But I will say this, look, she was, when I went down, she thought the worst had happened, because I went down and I grabbed my hand and I saw it was, my hand was loaded up with blood. You see it in slow motion, instant replay. You know, we had hundreds of press there. So this was covered live. They would have had instant replay and everything else, which they already do in this. But supposing the worst happened, you know, one man, Corey, was killed, hit horribly,
amazing man,
horribly in the head. And, to guard, he was guarding his family.
That's why
His
how
daughter
important
and
it
his-
is to get to the bottom of why this
Oh,
was
it's very
allowed to
important.
occur. I mean,
No,
he
no.
died.
You heard him get a little emotional there for sure. Definite situation there. I thought that was a great interview. I'll place the link for the interview. We basically watched it here, but I'll place a link for it down in the description below. Let me know your thoughts on this. I thought that was a good interview with Fox. Interesting to hear the SWAT team and the most recent stuff come out with the text messages. The text messages come out, and they discovered that this gentleman was hanging around the facility about a few hours before the actual event, looking suspicious. He has an MO. The dude looks like a school shooter. He looks, Indian people and other people. I don't want to just say Indians, but there's racial profiling that happens. There's ethnic profiling that happens at the airport. There should be shooter profiling that happens. This guy looks like a freaking school shooter. And plus he was carrying around a rangefinder, a gun, looking spooky. Get his ass. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Drop your comments down below. I'd love to know. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.